February 18th, 2023 is a night one teen girl's life changed forever. Janae Edmonson was visiting St. Louis for a volleyball tournament when she was hit by a speeding car, losing both of her legs.
Fast forward to today, the man accused of being behind the wheel is now on trial. Daniel Riley. We're hearing brand new details about that night, including a never before heard audio of the 911 call.
A car that ran a stop sign like 70 miles an hour ran into somebody that ran him up into the trunk.
From the courtroom, we're hearing from Janae's family, whose life, of course, has been changed forever.
This as prosecutors say Riley had multiple drugs in his system at the time of the crash in downtown St. Louis.
Daniel Riley does face multiple charges for that crash that led to the 17-year-old losing her legs.
And the father of Janae sharing the gruesome details of a moment he'll never forget. And our Susan El-Khoury spent all day in the courtroom. She joins us now with an update. Susan.
Yeah, and that testimony from Janae Edmonson's dad, certainly the most emotional we heard in court today. As we left, though, the last witness we heard from was a police officer who had responded to the crash. She testified that Daniel Riley smelled strongly of weed, some of the new information that we're learning in court. Now, Riley has been in court throughout this trial. He was also joined by dozens of family members. We heard prosecutors tell the jury that blood work found THC, codeine, and fentanyl in Riley's system. That crash happened in February 2023 when investigators say Riley, who did not have a driver's license, blew through a yield sign in downtown St. Louis, hitting 17-year-old Janae. First witness on the stand today was Edmondson's dad. He described walking with his wife and daughter when they heard a car speeding and saw Riley's SUV coming at them.
I turned to my right to grab Janae to get her out of the way. And then the only thing I know next is that I felt his car graze my leg and just snatched her out of my arms, out of my hand. She was bleeding out every time she was screaming, "Dad, I can't feel my leg, can't feel my leg."
Prosecutors say Riley was reckless, and he's the one who caused this crash. On top of playing that 911 call we heard for the first time, they showed surveillance video and pictures. Riley's defense lawyer claims his client wasn't at fault. He's also questioning police officers, arguing that they immediately investigated Riley and they didn't focus on the other driver. This crash happened at an intersection. Investigators say Riley hit a car who had the right of way. Riley's lawyer, though, has a different take.
Out of the blue, he got hit. The Malibu hit the Audi with such force as to make it leave the ground.
Trial is set to continue tomorrow morning. We saw Janae Edmonson's dad in court throughout this. Prosecutors are saying they're expecting Janae herself to testify while she hasn't been in court yet. All things we're going to continue to be following here in downtown. Susan El-Khoury, First Alert 4 Investigates.
Susan, thank you. A historic